Welcome back, everyone, to the e-commerce swipe file. We have two of the original sauce bosses themselves, Nick A and Nick G from TRUFF. Nick, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
How's it going? I'm Nick G, one of the co-founders and one of the Nicks from TRUFF.
I'm Nick A, the other co-founder, and the other Nick from TRUFF.
Awesome. And if people aren't familiar with TRUFF or your story, which would be pretty weird considering it's an e-commerce podcast, they probably either heard you on Shopify Masters, elsewhere, or look at your site for, how should we say, inspiration. What's your quick story of how you started TRUFF, beginning with, I believe it was just the Instagram handle @sauce, and really turning that into a brand?
For sure. So TRUFF is a digitally native luxury lifestyle hot sauce brand. It started as an Instagram account about 5 years ago. Got the handle sauce on IG. Nick and I started growing a cool following on the account. It was like a food blog, that lived on social media. We were posting cool images, high quality things we thought would resonate well with, pop culture foodie. Along the way, we decided we wanted to take it a step further and create a brand and, sell products through this channel that led us to the category, hot sauce. And we found a lot of opportunity in the space.
And I love that. And it's just, I love everything about it, of just really starting organically with that audience. And it's almost that modern day version of just hoarding domains. Of, you had a good Instagram handle, wanted to do something with it, was able to spin it off into a business. I know when I log into my GoDaddy account, I probably got 30 domains in there that I'm just paying for, that I'm going to use one day. Did you have that sauce handle available, or did you go through a broker to get that?
It was available. I didn't buy it. I didn't steal it from anyone. I got it organically.
Wow, that's awesome. So what year was that on Instagram?
What
2015, yeah.
Wow.
But something that happened, like, it's highly unlikely that it was just dormant since the beginning of Instagram. What probably happened was, like, some account got deactivated or something. Like, no way. 7 years.
A one-word domain on Instagram, the hottest social network of 2015, which both feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago at this point. But yeah, there's no way that was happening. So that is just what an awesome break to get started. A little bit of a less awesome break that we all experienced earlier this year is COVID, and how that really shook up a lot of different plans. For some businesses, getting online for the first time, a lot of food, home lifestyle, gym, apparel tended to do well. Other businesses, if you were in the travel accessories, obviously not doing well at all. So how did COVID really throw a wrench into your plans, and especially at how you're preparing for BFCM?
So into our plans is a specific way to ask. It's interesting because I think traditionally in, like, this industry, the way our year works is we kind of have food and trade shows throughout the year. And there's a fancy food show in January. There's we're in New York for New York Down in February, XO West in March, and it just kind of goes on throughout the year. So I guess the biggest wrench thrown would be the lack of food shows, trade shows. Being, predominantly e-com, those don't really define our business, but they're always great to, you pick up, you meet good buyers, network in the industry, those types of things. I'd say that's like the biggest.
Starting by a kid is always nice. Or even if you get a nice big PO of a truckload, and that's $200K of profit for one order, and all these customers who are asking where can I buy you in stores, we're just about to make their day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, trade shows are, a great place to kind of pick up new accounts, and people wouldn't be able to see typically throughout the year. You get to see everyone there, and so a lot happens there in terms of, like, I'd say, retail and whatnot. But in terms of the nature of our business, we're obviously digitally native, so kind of had the infrastructure to do a lot online, and we did see a pretty major spike just from people, whether they're cooking at home more, or not going out, or online shopping more, or whatnot. So we I guess it kind of traded areas to where the growth would come from, but we definitely saw COVID as it was a time where I think a lot of people were just not so much, they can't go out and people have to cook at home. And so we kind of married the two, being an online, business for the most part, and having a food driven product.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially when you can naturally go into a trend of what's happening, and for less than the cost of a meal out, you can buy a bottle of Truff, really quite literally spice up your meal and make that night sort of special or differentiate and stand out, when every night under quarantine really just feels the same. I remember people were counting sort of day 1, day 2, day 19, and then it's day 30, day 15. All of a sudden, 2 months had gone by like that without even really realizing it. So I think that's really, really interesting how it pivoted that way. Has that changed? And this is just going off topic for my own curiosity. Have you seen the wholesale or the distributor side of things change at all? I know that other digitally native grocery brands have really led the way by adjusting their sales pitch from going trade show to trade show to having a deck overlaying their customer orders with store locations of, say, Whole Foods, and then pitching that way digitally with a lot more emphasis on that. I know that retailers haven't always been as receptive to sort of that kind of data. Have you noticed a difference in retailers being a little bit more open to digitally native brands?
Definitely. Is that in regards to COVID or just like in general?
Both. I think both.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think retailers are realizing that there's a lot of ways to market a product, and if you do a great job online, it could actually have an impact in stores. And so we've definitely seen that. In terms of COVID, retail is interesting because I think the accounts you're in are thriving. I mean, a lot of people are shopping in the grocery stores more.
Yeah.
But a lot of buyers have had to push back meetings of like bringing in new products just by default of focusing on the staples for the consumer. And so there's kind of a mix of everything, but I think overall digitally native brands are definitely, making their mark in retail, and they are able to kind of maneuver in a way that they can have pretty high velocities from their online presence.
Okay. No, that makes a ton of sense. And just for context or anyone listening, it's funny, we were talking before we started recording about how we were both on the Shopify Masters podcast. And so my brand, Treats Happen, a natural dog treat, my episode of Shopify Masters is all about like just cutting our teeth and going on the trade show circuit that first summer of every weekend, just going boom, 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 boom. On the weekend, it was consumer shows. And on the weekdays, it was a lot more of the industry in the pet specialty trade show. So that's why I wanted to go down that little rabbit hole to satiate my own curiosity. But shifting gears and going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday prepping, how are you starting to prepare for BFCM over at TRUFF?
So historically, it's kind of funny. We don't do really any promotions at all around, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We do a lot of really cool content, value-added pushes, different recipe ideas, different ways you could use our product. But naturally, we do see a lift around those times, those areas. So, I mean, obviously making sure we have enough inventory, making sure all the systems are set so we don't run into any speed bumps.
Yeah, and I think that's a very common theme of just really understanding the data of what those predicted sales will be. But it's tricky if you've seen a lift in sales, and to your point of, even though you're not really a seasonal product or a gifting product, you naturally see that lift. What will that lift in sales be when you have a product that, although it's shelf stable, it still does have an expiry date? It's not like a phone case, or although a phone case would also have an expiry date when the new iPhone comes out, but it's not like a hat or something that can just sit on the shelves and then be liquidated at a future point. So for food products, you really do have to be cognizant of running that, having enough inventory, but not so much that you're sitting on it for forever. Have you found that the lead times have gone up since COVID hit, and now you have to have a longer forecast of inventory on hand? How has that impacted your supply chain?
So we are actually a very giftable product. Gifting is one of the biggest things people do with our product. And we historically have had a very large Q4 during the holiday season. So that's, probably one of the most important parts of our whole business. So gearing up for that is something that, we've really been spending a lot of time in, kind of looking at what happened during COVID and the spike in sales and, the rapid growth in a short amount of time. It kind of threw a little monkey wrench into the whole mix, because now we have to, build inventory for the large Q4, but also make up for inventory that we sold through with the spike in growth during COVID.
Yeah, I know that's not an easy challenge by any stretch. It's funny, everyone thinks about launching a lifestyle brand or direct consumer brand, and you think of a lot of the stuff they did early on with influencers and creating very visually appealing content, but it really does become a game of logistics as you grow, making sure that you're selling through, but then also making sure that you're not going out of stock, especially when you do have that seasonal bump for gifting. And I should have put two and two together. If you were one of Oprah's favorite things, with the white truffle hot sauce, of course you're going to see a big spike in gifts around that time. So that makes total sense. I should have put two and two together. And just as we wrap it up, how are you adjusting your customer support? I know that you're a Gorgias customer. Really appreciated the shout out on Shopify Masters. What are you doing to adapt your customer support? And do you have any tips, anything that you would like to share about how you're using Gorgias that you'd like to see other brands do? Maybe if you're ordering from them and you have a painful support experience and you were just thinking, man, like, I do this in my company, just do this with Gorgias. It's that much easier. I don't need to be, I want the pain in my mouth from guzzling some truff, not from waiting to find out where my order is.
Yeah, I think with Gorgias, it's definitely important to use all of the tools that are offered by the platform, all of the macros, all of the automation, but also at the same time, it's important to never lose that personal touch that you have with your customer. A lot of these technologies and softwares that are offered to these direct-to-consumer brands, they do a lot of the heavy lifting, but if you let too much of the software work for you, you're going to really lose that emotional connection you want to establish with the customer. So I think it's finding the balance between the two, being efficient, making sure you're leveraging all of the right things on these platforms like Gorgias, but also finding ways to add that personal touch. Because at the end of the day, the customers can really, see which brands are paying attention, which ones aren't.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got the perfect analogy as we wrap it up, which we were talking about before the call, which is, have you seen those pizza vending machines popping up? So there are vending machines where you can go and order a pizza and they crank it up and they make it all for you, which makes sense. It's the same amount of dough, sauce, and everything. It's a perfectly good pie. It's better than your generic chain, not quite as good as Pizzolio, one of my favorite chains in Toronto. It's not going to be as good because you don't have that care, but the same way that Pizzolio would automate knowing how much dough to use per pie, how much sauce, maybe even using a sauce applicator, but then still having that personal touch to know this pie isn't quite quality yet. It needs to go back in the oven the way that the pizza vending machine just isn't doing. And as a premium lifestyle brand, regardless if it's hot sauce or athleisure wear or shaving products or beard products or skincare, you really have to still have that personal touch Like imagine going to a restaurant Gordon Ramsay, who is essentially at this point where everything's following those same standard operating procedures, is essentially the same chain experience that could be totally automated. You go in, you're offered wine, you're offered this, and everything's so straightforward. But then you ask the sommelier, well, what wine should I get? And if they were to just say, recite the same menu each time, you kind of feel like, well, why am I here? This isn't the experience that I want. And I'm sure it's the same for you if somebody says, hey, I saw the popcorn recipe on your Instagram, how do I make that? And then if they don't get that answer, it just kind of feels like, oh, it's just another hot sauce I could have gotten elsewhere. They don't actually care about me once they have my money.
100%.
Right. So I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I'm fired up about good customer service and just really delicious pizza pie.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, so where can people find you? I don't want to create too much false urgency, but where can they start ordering TRUFF for their holiday giving now, just in case this episode blows up and you sell out? I don't want to make any claims. I don't want to say I'm bigger than Oprah or anything, but if this episode airs and you sell out, where can people find you? Where can they buy? Where can they buy TRUFF? And what can we expect for the holidays?
Yeah, you can get TRUFF on truffhotsauce.com. You can get it. Depends where you are. If you're in America, Whole Foods nationwide, we're in Wegmans, Giant, Central Market, a bunch of independents. Online, truffhotsauce.com, Amazon, pretty big on Amazon, number one hot sauce. We're also on Amazon in Canada. So, and then there's a great store called Chili Chili's. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they have an amazing hot sauce selection, and they have TRUFF there. Yeah, we have some. There's another big account we have in Canada. But yeah, I mean, anywhere, everywhere.
Yeah, and it's funny. I first had TRUFF at the Gorgias HQ in San Francisco, and it's delicious. Like the Gorgias team loves TRUFF, and internally when I said, "Hey, I've got the Nicks from TRUFF coming on the podcast," it's the most excitement I've seen internally for a long time.
Yeah.
So if you are listening, and if you have taste buds, order some TRUFF. You won't regret it.
We appreciate that. I'm glad you guys like it.
Awesome.